This week was probably slightly worse than the last week. I am motivated to practice, but I'm having some lapses in attention during the day. Do you see what is happening? It is a big change in these two sentences, which perhaps you are not aware, and I'll make you aware of that. You are not complaining about your anxiety reaction, which you have been doing it. Yes, it is okay that it is worse than the last week. Are you getting it? That is the meaning of a motivation, and you are right. So, that is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. It helps you to understand each and every step. What is happening? How do you experience? Your experiences tells you that where we are. At least, okay, you have some lapses, but at least uh, we cannot say now I have less anxiety or more anxiety, less reaction or more reaction. Okay, because the mind is focused on the motivation, one pointed. That is required for a sufficient period of time, and if that happens, the life changes. The gaps in awareness are probably only 15 minutes long in length. Yeah, that's okay in the beginning. Sometimes I feel a state of peace not associated with the body. Yes, that is what we are searching. We should have a direct experience of the peace and the calmness and the poise transcending the body. That is another way, another meaning that at least I don't experience it is the peace, something beyond the body. Yes. So, but it is very thin, it's okay, and I lose and gain awareness of it. Yes, it's okay. Over the course of the day, when my mind is down, it often goes to the cognitive symptom problems I am still experiencing. Now you see, in the beginning it was good, and then your mind is down because mind is down. Definitely, it is a lack of awareness, and the mind went back to the previous past habits, past symptoms. And the best thing to do is to just enter into awareness. Just do the poise practice. Use the mantra. Use the mantra. Don't leave. Don't leave it. Don't lose your heart. And if you don't lose it, even, body keeps on changing, mind keeps on changing. We discussed about 8 or 9 factors which causes these symptoms and the problems. So the moment you have the symptoms, you remember I am of the nature of the real self, that there is a peace inside, and this anxiety, duality, and a conflict are like the clouds. I'm looking for the sky. The sky is not at all impacted. The more you have these kind of thoughts you feed to the mind, you will see it is changing. We have to change that mindset. We should have that cognition, cognitive behavior change 24 by 7. You are, say, for example, you are working manually for 10 hours, the body is going to be tired and it has an impact on the mind. They both are clouds. Behind that cloud, the sky, you can see it clearly. You can see it clearly. Just from 2:30 to 3:30 today, my time, half an hour ago. The body felt little tired. I said, okay, let us pay attention and go into deeper relaxation. Finished. So that state will definitely come as your commitment is there. Yes, you have asked a beautiful question. That too is coming from your uh, a seeker's mind. If thought and actions are not me, why do I have to be nice and help others? Because I have to be nice to myself. If you continue to react and angry and agitated over others, you feel that you are separate from the entire world. If you feel that you are separate from the entire world, it is your ego. And the ego is the greatest barrier in the self-realization and awakening. Simple answer. So do these actions help to diminish the sense of separate self and ego? You have answered partially. Yes, that is also good. If thought and actions are not truly me, the motivation to be nice and help others is not about egoistic self-improvement, but about aligning with the deeper reality, compassion, and selflessness are natural expression of recognizing our unity with others, not acts to boost a separate self. If you boost your separate self, you continue to accumulate impressions of negativity. That is why helping others, being kind and compassionate to others is what is required. Sense of separate self, that is ego, is born from ignorance. I have to get out of the ignorance. So I have to be kind, inspiring, motivating to others, compassionate to others. Act of kindness, service, and empathy help diminish this false identification. We have to be nice. Being nice or helping others is not the sake of a personal reward, but as a way of practice. It is also a great practice of karma yoga. We will discuss later in detail, but as a way of practice, seeing beyond the illusion of separation. So we'll talk about that karma yoga later. So one of the greatest attitude in the karma yoga that you drop your selfishness. Selfless action help others, help you weaken the ego, because they shift your attention away from the self-centered concern. Ego thrives on I and mine. But when we serve others, we are dissolving this I and mine. To reach to the highest state of awakening, we need not to thrive on I and mine. And after all, the very doership in us is a false I. So from that false I comes the question why I have to be kind to others. Kindness is universal, compassion is universal, love is universal, peace is universal, anxiety is personal, reaction is personal. It's raining today. One person dances due to the rain, the second person curses the rain, and the third feels scared of getting ill. Nothing happens to the rain. It is my attitude. How I respond to the rain. Rain is immaterial. Rain seems to be an inert act of the nature. but my attitude towards the rain changes my perception. What to talk of having a right attitude towards people, things. It is required. On the other hand, it also it also brings a cognitive change in you. It changes your attitude, behavior, and conduct. In turn, it changes your thought, speech, and action. And when there's thought, speech, and action uh, is expressed in personal, professional life, you are open to the inner, higher consciousness. These thoughts and actions aren't the real you. They are the tools, not your identity. So when I react, that is also an action. When I respond, that is also a reaction. Both are, but we have to find out which one helps me to remain calm and peaceful. So if I remain calm and peaceful in my thought, speech, and action, it can reflect deeper within. We need to have that. Kindness and service are not the ego's sake, but to experience unity. And that is where we come to the topic of the Mangalacharan. That is why perhaps you had this question. Question is very good, but we will take up deeply into this question when the real topic comes. Just let us have a practice first. Close your eyes, see a little deeper reflection into the practice. Eyes are closed, and so what we are doing, if you intellectually understand, you are driving away prarabdha, past impression, mind, crazy mind, by the first three steps: place, position, and posture. Sensation, comfort, and steadiness means that you are being comfortable and being comfortable. And third is being carefree. So you are basically helping your mind to change its pattern. So let us see, the default mind is reactive, identified with the body and the thoughts, operates under ignorance, delusion. So what we do, we say, okay, let us have a place, position, and posture. I'm communicating as if I'm talking to you, and in talking to you, the practice continues. Why I'm saying so? Because I want you to deepen the practice. So deepen the practice means you can be into the state of the practice at any time. So you are aware of the default mind, and instantly you move to the place, position, and posture. Means you are withdrawing the mind from the symptoms of that, and then you are being comfortable. So when you are comfortable, means you are moving the mind on the body while you are changing the direction. So how come it helps you? Your mind got the attention of anxiety, reaction, duality, feeling of tiredness, but you shifted that attention to being comfortable. It can happen at any time in your life. We need to deepen that state. and that was your reflection last week. So I'm taking one thing is very good in a sense that you did not talk, but in the end, those previous symptoms are manifest, and those are the moments when you remember, you become aware, you become comfortable. When you become comfortable means that you are experiencing sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So when I said you that you should hear sensation, comfort, and steadiness, you are moving the mind on the body. Now you see, you have a sense of reaction and anxiety or feeling of tiredness. It may take more repetition that you move the mind on the body. So your focus is to change the direction of the mind. It may happen that 5 or 6 times you repeat, you move the mind on the skin of the body, and at last you start feeling the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. What is that? That is a practical motivated person. You don't leave it. It is there. How can I leave it? So moving the mind over the skin from the head to the toe, sensing sensation, comfort, and steadiness. And check. So when you have done the 2 steps, place, position, and posture, and sensation, comfort, and steadiness, you should check, letting this lead into a settled state, by a settled state, to move into the 3rd step of being carefree. And being carefree, my friend, is to separate your all experiences from the observer. When you keep your motivation alive, the time comes you will have an awakening that the observer and observed are totally separate. And more you feel the separation, greater the calmness and peace you experience as an observer. It is one of the most beautiful principles in Eastern wisdom. Observer, it is pure awareness, and observed is your body, mind, intellect, ego, thought, feeling, sensation, reaction, pleasure, pain. They are always distinct. But why I feel they are me? Because of ignorance, because of delusion. That is the greatest delusion we experience, and that is why our master says it is a gradual, progressive, step-by-step approach until you realize that you are separate from what you know and what you experience. In extreme pain, when you feel, you experience that you are separate from what you experience, even in extreme pain. No pain, no anxiety, no reaction can ever disturb you. They are there because of the past impressions, and once you separate, they come, they go like clouds. That is the beauty. And then, so once you start experiencing a little separation, you will find as if you are getting settled in calmness and peace. In that state, you invoke the mantra, Shanti mantra. Have you ever thought that what do you mean by invoke? Invoke is defined as recognizing what is already present. Oh, Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. So your intellect should settle with the awareness that happiness is already present. I am just going there. You don't bring the house to yourself, you reach to the house. So who is reaching to the house? The mind. Where the mind is constantly on our hesitation, anxiety, fear, duality, and a conflict. So it has to be educated, it has to be trained. That is what we are doing. Anytime you are in extreme stress and anxiety, can you remember? Can you repeat? Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Oh, yes, your mind reflects happiness is definitely within me, but I feel the reaction. Oh, it is behind the reaction. I feel anxiety. Oh, it is behind the anxiety. I felt anger. Oh, it is behind the anger. Can you declare? Can you say at that moment? Do it this week and you will see what a great change in your perception. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir. Same way that you should be doing, then you become very casual and natural. We go beyond the structured practice. What is the structured practice? I told you to do it 3 times. Repeat 3 times the meaning and then reflect. You do it simply once. May there be peace for all. Oh, peace, definitely. Your focus is on the peace is already there behind current state, and it is with everyone. Peace is universal, and you are settling your intellect into that. That is the practical motivation. Means practice plus a motivation, it changes. Even now, whatever you feel. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness and wholeness. If I am whole, complete in myself, mind, why you are taking me to anxiety, reaction, duality, and a conflict? Why the craving is when you are whole? That is the meaning of invoking the mantra, recognizing what is already present. And the last line, may there be auspiciousness for all. Auspiciousness. So auspiciousness, pure consciousness, peace and happiness are intrinsic nature. Invoking means they are not created states, they are already there. For example, you are returning to your home and you say, oh, whether I will get home or not, what type of home I will get. What? Are you crazy? No. So home is already there. It is present there. You are reaching there. Same way, the peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom is already there. You see how the understanding helps you to move deeper. And now in that state, now today I'm going unstructured, even though we follow the steps. So you experience place, position, and posture, sensation, comfort, and steadiness, and then you recognize you are the observer and knower, and all experiences are taking place, and the mind has nothing to do with you. And then you find the space between the observer means what? You're aware of the space, you drop Om Shanti. Om Shanti with a meaning. I am the peace. So why I am the peace? Why you are invoking? Because it is already there with me. I'm reaching home. Home is already there. You don't raise a doubt that there will be home is not there, so what should I do? Ah, what should I do? No, it is already there. I'm reaching there. So mind does not allow you to have that trust in you that peace is already there. That lapses your awareness. So it is the mind. It is the mind. And you can interchange Om Shanti, and you see the mind is still distracted, wandering to the other thoughts not required as an unauthorized occupants. You may start with the longer one. May there be happiness for all. And then you reflect happiness is essential, intrinsic, natural. Ignorance blocks my recognition of the peace. Now your intellect is saying the intellect is blocking my recognition of the peace and happiness. Your mind gets a shock and you enter into some kind of emptiness. And then you can start with the Om Shanti again. So it is, you are solving a puzzle in your mind. So don't take it as simply a structured practice. Take it as a everyday work. That is what our masters say, mental maturity. When a strong trigger takes place in the mind, you only drop Om Shanti. When a strong attraction or delusory fixation appears, intellect does not fight it, but superimposes. May there be peace for all. May there be happiness for all. Om Shanti repeatedly until the attachment and delusion diffuses. That's a practical inspiration and motivation. Any thought or no thought, Om Shanti is there. Any question the mind raises or no question, Om Shanti is there. That is the power of Mangalacharan. We have many mantras. We'll take to that. And you just, as if you are already sitting into calmness and peace, and whenever there is a lapse of awareness, intellect is attentive, and it says Om Shanti, or may there be happiness for all. Otherwise, you're not doing anything. Again, I told you that it is not unstructured. So if you feel sleepy or agitated, then you have to repeat continuously. If not, you maintain that sense of calmness, and in that calmness some thought comes, then you do nothing, and the moment any thought comes, you superimpose Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. So your superimposition by the intellect will strengthen, and when it strengthens, my friend, you will always be living in a higher awareness. Always. In spite of the fact that you experience the challenges, but behind you can recognize the peace, behind the anxiety, behind the reaction. You experience the calmness as sky behind the clouds of anxiety, duality, and conflict. Can we reach there is a challenge to us. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. Did you understand? Did you feel? Yeah, that needs to be done. Practical motive. Sometimes, the body, mind, intellect, ego, they keep on changing. The situation outside keeps on changing. You may have a past impression of the cold that scares you, so that thought of the fear may come. Don't convert it into an incident. We discussed that in a detail. Event should not be converted into an incident. Event is outside. Cold is outside. Yes, past impression made me scared. Om Shanti is there as a sky. Fear remains as a cloud. That is another level of consciousness and awareness we need to, and it happens because of the ignorance and the delusion. It happens. Non-suppression is the way. We have to gently re-educate the mind. We have to gently re-educate the mind. Yes, after many sessions, we are moving to the text as with each verse, we have to go deeper. So the question is that to guide the Tattva Bodha, the text is written by the great master to guide the seekers from the habitual mind and its reaction to inner freedom through completing the sentence, through humility, gratitude, discernment, and sustained self-awareness, anchored in the first verse of the Tattva Bodha. So the very first verse demands a very high level of humility, gratitude, anchored in the first verse. And then we will directly go to this guy, I have fixed the session today and he disappeared. I told you that guy who was in prison for 3 days.
Yeah. Yes.
I said, what should I do? So I said, no, let me keep myself cool and calm. Let us see what happens. He did not appear. He did not respond to my email, did not respond to the text. I wonder, he is still in. He went back to the. So thoughts arise from the deep impressions. Mind, content of the mind are conditioned. Understanding or reason replaces reaction with observation. That is why we do the Mangalacharana. The principle contained in the first verse pertains to the Guru. Guru means from ignorance to wisdom. So what a teacher does, teacher simply personalizes knowledge, leading seekers from ignorance to wisdom. Knowledge is already available. That personalization is a must. Otherwise, we will have an intellectual information. We may have an intellectual information of the humility and the gratitude. But the humility and gratitude reset the default mind. This guy told me, you have to teach me this thing. He read lot of text. I said, you allow me to teach what I want to teach you. Why you are guiding me what to teach you? And if I teach what you are guiding me, you will go back to deeper hallucination. Your mind is still stuck to that. Don't do that, please. So then he looked at me in the last session. He said, I'm sorry, so please, go ahead. And today he would disappear. Anyhow, so you see, the humility and the gratitude reset the default mind. It doesn't mean, sometimes you have asked, for the last 2 weeks you have asked beautiful questions. So should I not discuss about it? Yes, I must discuss to help you get clarity. But where the clarity is not required, I simply avoid. Reverence opens the receptivity. Gratitude grounds awareness. What works behind discernment breaks the emotional compulsion. Using Viveka, one separates the thought, feeling, and emotions from the self. These are the factors working. We have been working for long. Sustained practice leads to awakening, because consistency dissolves patterns of ignorance and ego. That is the message given in the first verse. I told you before also, let's say, imagine 4,000 years ago, no print medium, printing was not there. They used to write on the peeling the skin, making like a paper, and they used to write with the ink manufactured with many different leaves. But then there are always the chances that it can be destroyed. So they found the way that you see, 10 principles. They encrypted it in the form of a verse. Master's job. Rare masters, those who have reached to that state, they picked up the principles, and 10 or 15 principles compressed into one verse. You can say a zip file, and then whenever the student comes, the education was that they have to memorize all these verses first. Why? After that, they start explaining each and every verse, because they remember the verse as it is, so that they can pass on the tradition to the others. And that continued to happen for the last 10,000 years. And when the print medium came, now these books are available. As it is. Still as it is. Teaching is as it is. So Mangala Charan, the first verse, guides us that it will help us that the thoughts are expressions of the past impressions, not the products of pure will. The mind functions as an inner instrument. We discussed that mind, intellect, ego, and the memory in the last session. Discernment reveals the thought as separate from the self. I am not the thought, that is very clear intellectually. But do I experience it even now when I am speaking to you? And if I am speaking to you, I experience that these thoughts which I am expressing, I am separate from you. You are already at a higher level. Emotional balance, but it demands emotional balance also. One is the discernment plus the emotional balance. Why? We need it nurtures clarity, gratitude and humility. That is why we have a Mangala Charan mantra. We have a Mangala Charan. We discussed about the origin of the thought last. What happens when you realize thoughts arise from the conditioning? You stop judging them and begin observing them. Thought of anxiety, thought of reaction. Thank you, mind. You are making me aware of the thought of anxiety. Don't react. So the moment you treat these thoughts of anxiety and reaction like this, you are applying discernment. That is real life discernment. You shine a flashlight on the ripple. What is the ripple? Thought of anxiety, thought of pleasure, thought of a cute and beautiful girl. Then what? The moment you shine a flashlight of discernment on the thought of a cute and beautiful, it loses its strength. Why? They are separate from you. Confusion is gone. Are you getting it? This is a thought, not me. Anxiety comes. Oh, this is a thought of anxiety, not me. Oh, this is a thought of cute and beautiful girl, not me. This is a thought of beautiful home, not me. Cute and beautiful girl is the shape, is the home also. So what happens? What happens? You apply the discernment, it reduces your fear, attachment, and anxiety. It can happen instantly. You have to rise above that from current level of awareness to the higher level of awareness. Intellectual clarity builds emotional steadiness. First, what we did, recognition the origin of the thoughts. Yes, okay, origin of the thoughts. Anxiety, reaction, duality, it has come from the past, we already know. You stop judging them and begin observing them. You step into the second step of you apply the discernment. You are shining a flashlight on the ripple of that thought. This is a thought, not me. Are you getting it? This is the thought of cute and beautiful girl, not me. You say to your mind, I'm simply saying you say to your mind and forget it and see what happens. The moment you say discernment is applied, attachment and anxiety reduces. Now you have a little higher awareness. You are not lost into that. You are not lost into the ignorance. Why? It will lead you to a higher awareness. What emerges when discernment becomes a habit. Now we are talking of that. Second step, what happens when the discernment becomes a habit? Emotional stability, emotional maturity. The lake begins to settle. You can continue to attend this session in the state of a headache. Acute headache brings an anxiety, for example, but you are still in the class and you are attending because you focus, you diverted your attention. It can happen, yes, it can happen. Discernment distinguishes, why? Clearly distinguishes between the observer and observed. It prevents personalizing transient emotions of anxiety and reaction. When a fear thought arises, a fear thought is here. Fear thought is here means it is in my mind, then what? I'm not. Instead of I'm scared, fear is rising, fear is dissolving, anxiety is rising, anxiety is dissolving. It becomes a play. And then the next question comes. We step into the emotional maturity. Why discernment? The lake's ripple calms down, reflecting light. Perfect calmness stems from separating self from the thought waves. You can play with your emotions easily. At present, anxiety is playing with you. Negative emotions are playing with you. Cute and beautiful girl is not playing with you. Emotion associated with the cute and beautiful girl is playing with you. Cute and beautiful girl doesn't say play on, she doesn't knock the door. Dear, I have come to disturb you. I disturb myself. And discernment is the key. Building emotional stability and maturity. I was talking, to the group, I think, last week, This week or last week? This week. I told them that you are watching a horror film and the villain keeps beating the actress and then you start crying. You don't have an emotional stability. Why don't you recognize it is a plot written by the writer, directed by the director, played by the actor in a film, and that is why this emotional scene is there. It is not real. Building emotional stability and maturity in the journey of a self-discovery is very, very important. Calmness stems from separating. I told you discernment, emotional balance fosters. Why emotional maturity? Because mental clarity is there, spiritual progress. Stillness strengthens. Then you realize the importance of compassion, poise, and insight. Emotional steadiness arises from non-attachment. But we have to follow. What is the fruit of emotional steadiness? Now you see, I'm moving step by step, helping you to understand. First, you recognize the origin of the thought, you apply the discernment, then you build the emotional stability and maturity. Now comes what comes? When you build the emotional stability, you break the cycle of recurrent anxiety, recurrent duality and a conflict, recurrent fatigue and reaction. You can break the cycle. Or I can say that you break the cycle of ignorance and ego. We can ask the question, after all, why I have an emotional instability? That is the answer. That invisible thread ties us to illusion. That is why I lose awareness. Are you getting it? I'm answering what you have written. So step by step, recognizing the origin of the thought, applying discernment, building emotional stability and maturity. Now I can see it is the ignorance, it is the illusion, breeds the ego and attachment, and that makes me suffer. I'm receiving a knowledge that will break the false identification with the body and the mind. And what you have written, I'm rephrasing it. Regaining awareness, your awareness reclaims freedom. Why you are seeking that awareness? Why I should not have a lack of awareness? Because that very awareness reclaims freedom. Think. You are intelligent, I know. You think. When you pay attention, you think. Ego arises from the ignorance of true nature. Awareness transforms the ego I. It takes you to a discernment so that you can separate. You reframe each resistance of anxiety, duality, and a conflict. Who feels? This is the thought of anxiety. This is the thought of cute and beautiful girl. Cute and beautiful girl did not knock the door. Reserve serenity. What sustains freedom after breaking the cycle? Answer. Do you know the answer? Simple. What sustains this emotional maturity? Consistent practice. You're self-motivated. Consistent practice. But consistent practice anchored in humility and gratitude. I will continue to do whatever it takes me. Finished. Are you getting it? You see, the sequence, when we don't understand clearly, then there is a problem. Recognizing the origin of the thought, I started with it. Then you apply the discernment, means separation. That helps you to move to the emotional maturity or stability. And then you can break the cycle of ignorance and ego. And but how? What sustains the freedom? Sustained practice and commitment. Sustained practice and commitment. Once the time comes when you say, I am already in the practice, no worries, no worries, no worries, no worries. The lake of the mind remains undisturbed through the steady discipline and devotion. Devotion is a part of the humility. Regular practice anchors awareness and peace. I remember 45 years ago, I asked him, Master, you have reached already to that state of awakening. Why you are practicing? Why you wake up at 2 a.m. every day? I could not do it. I still wake up at 4. So he said, what should I do? Should I start thinking of my stress and suffering? I have enough time. Let me continue. Do you think that after awakening I should not go to the restroom? I should not eat? These are fantasies. These are hallucinations. And then Master said one more thing, that whenever I see the people are in problem, I tell them, I guide them, I teach them. But when I sit alone, I pray for them because they are me. I don't see any difference. I still remember. I still feel that my master appear manifesting in your name in the form. You have not come here to learn anything from me. My master is manifesting. He is motivating, inspiring me to pass on this wisdom. Can you understand the state of your mind in that? That is the meaning of the sustained practice and commitment. Sustained practice and commitment is that changes your entire life. Whatever the profession you have, it does not mean anything. Whatever the profession you have, wherever you are. Kabir, you have heard the name of Rumi. Americans are very aware of the Rumi. So there is a Rumi of India who is Kabir. Kabir was a son of a unmarried girl, and that girl put the boy Kabir into a bamboo basket, and in that then she left the bamboo basket in the river, and that basket flew, reached to another bank where a couple of weavers in early days, the weavers, they used to make the cotton thread, and from there they used to weave the cotton clothes. It happened in 15th century. Kabir became one of the greatest masters. And he remained as a weaver, but full of ecstasy. Majority of our masters equal him with the Buddha. Buddha started some form of a system and structured approach, or you can say cult or religion. He did not start. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. Kabir was the Rumi of India. He wrote all those verses. So internally you reach to that state, then you bypass power, position, seeking pleasure from the world outside. One of the great masters. Luckily, fortunately, you can say, his son was greater than him. His son was also, name of the son is Kamal. And they used to have a dialogue where thousands of people used to sit and they used to receive the wisdom. When the father and the son duo used to have a dialogue. To understand his level of humility, they used to weave the clothes. He used to go to the market, he used to sell all the clothes. 50% of the money he used to buy the cotton to weave the cloth again. The rest 50% of the profit he used to buy all the food stuff, return home by the late evening. He used to cook the food for hundreds of people, and hundreds of the people used to gather. He used to offer the food to them, and then he used to sing in ecstasy. Great master. We'll talk about that. So, that is an active humility, active gratitude, a dynamic state of the gratitude, humility, and compassion. He used to say, I see the God in all of you. That is the answer to your question again.